Hello everyone, and a super happy Thursday to you all. It's your good old pal, Ichino-ani, here to share some exciting news from the world of science. Today is June 12, 2025, a Thursday perfect for learning something new. Guess what? I've got a really cool paper from our man, Shun. That's Human-Computer Interaction Archive. It's all about how people and robots can work together, especially when things get super busy. The title is Human and Robot Teaming Field Deployments, a comparison between verbal and non-verbal communication. And if you want to read it yourselves, you can find it at Dini. Brewer, proceed. Board website at 6.891. Yes, it's a bit of a long one. So let's dive in, shall we? Imagine you're in a hospital emergency room. Wow, it's a very busy place, right? Doctors and nurses, our healthcare heroes, often need to find medical supplies super quickly from something called a crash cart. These carts have lots of drawers, packed with important tools and medicines. Finding the right thing in a hurry can be really stressful. And sometimes mistakes can happen that things can get delayed. This is a big problem because in emergencies, every second counts for helping patients. This paper is trying to solve exactly that problem. The super smart researchers wanted to see if a special robotic crash cart, or RAN, could help healthcare workers. We wondered, what's the best way for this robot helper to tell people where things are? Should it talk to them using verbal cues? Or should I use non-verbal cues like blinking lights on the drawers? So they did an experiment in a very realistic, make-believe emergency room. Some healthcare teams used a regular crash cart. Some used a robot cart that talked to them, saying things like, "Epinephrine is in drawer." And others used a robot cart that had legal lights blinking on the correct drawer. How neat is that? And what did they find out, you ask? Well, it turns out that when the robot cart talked to the healthcare workers, it significantly reduced their mental demand and effort. Well, that means it was less tiring for their brains, and they didn't feel like they had to try so hard to find things. That's a big win. However, there was a little catch. The healthcare workers felt a tiny bit more frustrated when working with the robot, compared to the good old traditional cart. The paper suggests this might be because sometimes the robot didn't say if an item was missing, or maybe just getting used to new technology can be a bit tricky at first. It's like when you get a new toy and you're still figuring out all the buttons. Now, let's think about how this amazing research could help us in our everyday lives. I can think of at least 3 cool ways. First, for user-friendly website and mobile app design. You know how some apps or websites can be super confusing. Or imagine if they could talk you through the tricky parts, just like the robot cart. For example, if you're filling out a complicated form online, instead of just tiny help icons, the website could verbally say, "Next, please enter your date of birth here." This would make it so much easier, especially for people who find reading small text difficult. It reduces that mental puzzle. Second, let's talk about full virtual reality and our augmented reality interfaces. Imagine a mechanic learning to fix a new car engine using our glasses. Instead of lots of complicated diagrams popping up, blocking their view, the VR system could whisper in their ear. You will have filters located to your lower left. Just like the robot verbally guided the nurses, this would help the mechanic work faster and with less stress. And third, this is super important, accessibility technology. Think about older adults or people with disabilities using new medical devices at home. A device that clearly speaks instructions like, "Take time to take your medicine. Please pass the green button," would be so much better than relying on small blinking lights or a thick manual. The paper showed verbal cues reduced mental demand, and that's exactly what's needed to make technology more inclusive. Now, how does this compare to other things? Well, compared to a traditional crash cart where you have to search all by yourself, a talking robot cart seems to make the job less effortful. And when we compare the robots talking to the robots blinking lights, the talking or verbal communication was better at reducing mental strain. It's a bit like how sometimes it's easier to understand directions if someone tells you, rather than just pointing. This research also reminds me of our voice assistants like Siri or Alexa. We know talking to them can be helpful. But this study shows that in really important, high-pressure situations, how the robot communicates is extra critical. It needs to be clear and reduce stress, not add to it. The researchers also noted that the people working with the robots were generally positive, but they did have some worries maybe about their jobs or how work might change. So it's important to think about those feelings too when we bring new robot helpers into any workplace. Isn't that just fascinating, everyone? This study helps us understand how to make robots better teammates, especially in places like hospitals where teamwork can save lives. Using clear voice communication seems to be a really good way to help people without making them feel more stressed. Great job by these researchers. That's all the time we have for today's trending article. Keep being curious and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.